Scientists unite to resolve a vengi in this
Math
fight
scientist.
together.
Hello and welcome to the second tutorial on Matlab. Now, on this tutorial, we're going to talk about arrays, or you can call them vectors. So, what are vectors? Vectors are basically, mathematically, they're a collection of numbers. They can be 1 by n dimensional or n by 1 dimensional. What I mean by that is that they can be either a row of numbers or they can be a column of numbers. So, we're just going to do some basic operations you can do with vectors. So firstly, just like we did with the normal variables, we're going to declare a vector. So we give it a name. So let's say vector A. So after giving it a name, we have to give it value. So we say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is just a 1 by 5 vector. It means it's a row with 5 elements in it. So if we are to run this, you'd see on screen, vector should print out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's perfect. So what about a 5 by 1 vector? How would you make that? So if we say vector E equal to basically the same thing, but the difference is that instead of using these commas, we're separating with these commas here. This time we'll be separating with colons. Okay, I'm just going to print that out. See the difference now? It says 1, 2, 4, 5. Okay. So I advise you to play around with this. Just get the feel of how. So that's the difference between a column vector and a row vector. Basically a 1 by n and an n by 1. So we can play around with these dimensions. Doesn't necessarily have to be 5 values. You can have less. Do it like this. I want you to see what happens if I remove these comma values symbols here. If I run this, you will notice that vector A will still be same. So if you leave there without commas but with spaces, it will assume that there are commas there and will create a 1 by n vector. But if you do the same with this, you end up making the same. It will make up the same vector as A. It won't be a n by 1, it will still be 1 by n. Okay, so let's go back to what it was. Okay, so what can we do with our vectors mathematically in Matlab? We can do many things, many things. And the first thing I'm going to show you is I'm going to show you how to multiply the vectors with the constant. So we can say vector, the answer is equal to vector A times. Okay. So if you see, you should see that the 2 has multiplied each value in the vector. So it's now 2, 4, 6 rather than 1, 2. That's the value of answer. That's just basic multiplication with a constant. Then the second one we want to do is say we're going to add the vectors, the vector A plus vector. In this situation, I'm going to have to change this into a row. You can't add vectors with different dimensions together. So I can change the values on this one and change this into same dimensions as that one. So we say vector A plus vector. So it will add each value with the corresponding value from vector A with the corresponding value from vector B. So it will say 1 plus 1 get 2, 2 plus 5 and get 7, 3 plus 7 then get 10. So that's addition of the vectors. The third thing we can do is subtraction of the vectors. Vector A minus vector B. Once we run, get 1 minus 1, 0. 2 minus 5 is negative 3. 3 minus 7 is negative 4. So those are a couple of the basic we can do. Now, besides these, there are more operations that are more suited for vectors that are more custom for vectors, which are types of multiplications like vector, dot products, and cross. Okay, so how do we do those? Let's say for the dot product, initially you have to say you give your value. You say you use a function called dot. So you write dot, then inside this you put in the two vectors you want to multiply together. So you say vector a comma vector, then we run this. You see that it gets 32. But where is this 32 coming from? This 32 is coming from basically saying 1 times 1, then adding it 2 times 5, which is overall it's 11 now, then adding it to 3 times 7. That will give you 20. That's what a cross dot product is. And the other mathematical operation you can do with vectors is cross product. So we say answer is equal to, green is going crazy there. Answer is equal to vector a comma vector b. Can I run this? Now we get -1, -4, and 3. This is the cross product. Okay, so those are a couple of basic mathematical operations you can do with Matlab and vector. You can also do operations code element-wise operation. So with the vectors, you can do specific things. For example, if I want to multiply these two, but I just want to multiply them one by one, not to multiply like cross product or the dot product. I just want to say this times this, then give it a dimension, times this, then put it in its own dimension, then this times this, then put it in its own dimension. So basically doing the dot product but not adding the answers together. Do this, we can say vector a, then times, then we have to put dot in front of it, the opposite dot, then times, then vector. Okay, we run this, you find that this 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 5 is 10, 3 times 7 is 21. Okay, so if you add these together, you get the dot product. We wanted to take them. Okay, so it's the same as well for division. You can say vector a divided by, sorry, the dot first, divided by vector b. Okay, this equation you should get 1 initially, then 0.4 second one, 0.42 third one. So 0.42 is just 3 divided by 7, 0.4 is 2 divided by 5, and 1 is 1 divided by 1. Okay, so this is the basic view of how it works. So we don't have to do the versions for addition and subtraction because these two are already element wise. I keep getting the temptation to say bitwise or element wise operation. So that's basically the end of our introduction to basic operations with vectors in Matlab. You do some experimentation, you find that there are a lot of things you can do, but these are the basis for all the things that we will be doing with the vectors from now on.